Alright guys, Michael Chrysler here, First Choice Power Washing here in Lexington, Kentucky. A couple of guys asked we could show how to change the oil in a pressure washer. In this particular case, we're going to be taking care of a Pressure Pro. Right now it has the wheels. I don't use them like this. I just bought this recently. It's getting a skid kit put on. I just haven't got around to it, but might as well use it while I have it. It's easier to make a video when I've got it in a position like this anyhow. But anyhow, what we've got here is a Pressure Pro 8 gallon a minute, 3000 psi. It is a Honda GX630 and it has an hour meter. In this particular case, we've got 254 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and change the oil. Not sure if the previous owner had just recently done it. Even if he had, just a good precaution to go ahead and do it yourself. Some places to be familiar with on this Honda is there's your dipstick. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at it right now. Actually, the oil actually looks pretty good. It probably does not need an oil change, but I'm going to do it anyhow for the sake of education. Here's where our oil fill is. I'm going to go ahead and remove that cap now. It'll actually help the oil flow out of the engine better, letting the air come in. It's also a good time to check the air filter, so let's go ahead and do that. If I can do this with one hand kind of thing. Filter so far it's actually looking pretty darn clean. It doesn't have a lot of hours on this machine, so it's not that big of a deal here. That looks pretty darn good. It's pretty darn clean, so we're not going to change out the air filter. I don't have to blow it out or anything. As you can see, this is pretty clean in here. These Honda engines are really good about keeping debris and dirt out. You have to do your part with changing that filter and whatnot. Let me get this darn thing. Go ahead and put that back on real quick. So there you have it. It's a Honda GX630. They don't put horsepower ratings on them anymore so much, but it's the equivalent to the 21 horsepower that you probably used to see, electric start. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this. I'm going to show you where the oil filter's at. There's your oil filter on this particular machine, and some I'm not sure if will or won't have this, but this relocates your oil drain plug. So if you put this on your trailer and you have this in another place, if you want it to come straight out maybe and point out here coming off the truck or into a hole into the bed of the truck or on your trailer or whatever, but this particular one doesn't look like it's ever been messed with, so we're just gonna go ahead and do this. I just cut off the bottom of a 5 gallon bucket just so long as it can hold 1.5 quarts. That's what this thing takes according to here. Let me go ahead and get this for you real quick too. This is a good thing to keep around because sometimes you forget, or if you're like me, a lot of this stuff actually stays on our website because I haven't done this machine before and we just got this machine. This machine does not have a QR code. There will be a QR code right here, and this video will most likely be the video, or at least pieces of it, that the QR code will go to. So when the tech needs to do this, they can just scan the QR code, see the video. There will also be information on what oil, when the last time it was done, whatnot. They can fill out a form on there and just send it. Now I'll get an email saying that it had been done and how many hours it had on it and the date that it did it. It's a cool thing about websites and using your website. That's another story. But there's your oil filter. I buy mine. I think the last time I bought some, I bought a box of a dozen or something like that. But just make sure you get the right oil filter. This one says it replaces Honda 15410 MJO. It's pretty much the right one. I'm not even sure what brand it is. I just buy them a dozen at a time on eBay. And you're going to want to have oil. This particular machine takes 1530 weight. I'm not one of those guys that really has seen much difference if you use Valvoline, castor oil, whatever brand. So we're just going to throw in some Super Tech from Walmart, because if you're doing this regularly anyhow, you're not going to have an issue. Plus it's a Honda. Hondas The Briggs, I'm not such a big fan of the Briggs. The Kohlers, awesome machines, but these Hondas, they're running pretty good. If they stop running pretty good, it's usually because some kind of EPA crap got implemented on them, and we have to deal with that or whatever, you know, with ethanol and things like that. So here are our tools. I already know what tools I need. This plug is 18 millimeters. This is just a 9/16. I don't, you know, yours may be different. Who knows? You know, they might have got a better deal on something else. Your oil filter wrench. This one actually is the one that goes to my Harley Davidson. That's what the HD is, but it also fits that. So, and a socket, so makes it easier to get on and off. I usually keep a funnel so I can put my oil in, and a little bit of thread tape to put it back on these threads when we're done. So I'm gonna reposition the camera so I can have my hands free. All right, I'm back on it. Before we left, I did take the cap off the oil fill, so that's nice and open, and we're just gonna basically open this thing up, and well, it's loose. It's fairly loose actually, and actually this is not gonna come out as fast as it would if I'd been running it. That's usually what you want to do, is run it and get it nice and warm. This is not going to do that. As you can see, it's nice, a little bit cool out, and we haven't been running the machine. Excuse me. But this machine hasn't run because we just got it, and it's not been hooked up or plumbed or anything like that. We know it runs though and everything, but I wasn't able to get it nice and warm for you before we started this. I'm actually going to go ahead and slide this to a point where it'll catch the oil underneath the oil filter as well. I might as well do that. This oil filter on. Make sure I'm in the right direction. All right. And as you saw how easy that was to come off, it wasn't because I'm trying to make this video any easier. But the oil filter should always come off fairly easy because you should only hand tighten it. Anyhow, well, there you go. Let's see here. There we go. But you're only going to want to hand tighten these. Anyhow, so it shouldn't be too hard to come off. You shouldn't need, you know, 500 pounds of torque to get the darn thing off. But because we're replacing the filter, we're going to replace the oil with 1.5 quarts. Versus a 1.1 quart if you weren't changing the filter. So just to clarify that, good thing to have is a rag around, but it's going to drain very slow for me, it looks like. So I think I'm going to turn off the video so I'm not wasting your time on that part of it, and then when we start filling back up and whatnot, I'll turn the video back on. Alright, back here now. It actually took a while. I went and had a sandwich and everything, so where it's still cooler, it's going to do that. So you definitely want to do it when it's warm. But anyhow, I'm pretty much done here now with draining. I'm going to put some thread tape on here, and I know a lot of you might have seen my other video about the thread tape, but I was so sick about the thread tape I had to take off of this. They had probably gone around 4 or 5 times, and I would just go 1.5 maybe. That's all it needs. It's just that thread tape doesn't actually seal. It actually is just makes a lubricant so that you can tighten that better. It's not it's not actually sealing it. Being able to tighten it down is what's going to seal it for you better than anything. But I'm going to go ahead and put that back on. It's not the easiest thing in the world with oil all over your hands, but yeah, it's nice snug, don't over tighten or anything like that. Take my oil filter here and get this plastic off. Maybe I should have done that before the video, but I always take a little bit of that used oil there and just run it across that O-ring there, that rubber ring. Gives it a good seal. I even hit some on the threads too. But here's a little trick My granddad actually told me this one. You want to put that on there and then go counterclockwise until you hear it click. Oh, there it goes. But you'll hear a click, and that's when you know, there it went, and that's when you know you can go ahead and start threading. That way you don't cross thread that. I always just go counterclockwise till I hear a click, and just hand tighten it is all it needs. It doesn't need to be torqued down with the wrench or any of that thing. Any of that sort. But at this point we're ready to put our oil in. Get my little funnel out, and that just kind of, you know, the funnel just kind of keeps you from pouring oil all over your machine, you know. So that's the next step. So I'm gonna see if I can set this camera up somewhere and fill this up. Okay, I'm gonna hold this up just a little bit just to keep it off there, because it hit something there, and I'm just gonna make sure it's up off of that, so I'm not overflowing the thing or whatever. But it takes 1.5 quarts if you've done the filter change as well, and you really should. I always do. I mean, they're cheap enough. I think it's 1.5 quarts for even the 18, the 20, the 24 horse. I think it's still 1.5 quarts along all of them, but that's why you want to go ahead and take a look at the manual, and then just to make sure. All right. Now that we've got it full, we're going to go ahead and throw the dipstick back in, and I'm going to see what the level is here, if we can see it on the camera. Anything between those, between those two holes is good. Obviously that's your full, and that's like low. Anywhere in between there, generally that represents, I think, about 1/2 quart. I think that's how it is. Don't take my word for it, but anyhow, it's full, looks good, and there you have it. We've got an oil change, and we're going to do that every 50 hours. So I hope that helps some of you change the oil on your Honda pressure washer. I'll see you on the flip side.